Sometimes you meet a person who you feel like you've known forever, like an old friend.
His personality's remained as warm and as loving and as human as he was the day I first met him.
He takes the time to be your friend, and he makes you feel like you are his friend, and you are.
He's a good friend. He's loyal to all of us who have known him for such a long, long time.
He's very compassionate. He cares. He's Robert Osborne, and what you see is what you get.
I have never stopped listening to Robert. I have never stopped learning from him, and I am profoundly grateful.
Each person should have a Bob Osborne in their life.
I love you, Robert Osborne.
You'll always be part of my heart.
You're a gift to me, you're a gift to us all.
I'm truly grateful. Thank you, Robert.
You're our best friend. We love you, Bob.
Thank you, Robert.
I don't think you could find a better person to host than a gentleman who is in our living rooms every single night and often during the day.
Hi, welcome to Turner Classic Movies. I'm Robert Osborne. I'm going to be your host as we present some of the best, the finest films ever made, 24 hours a day.
I think one of the things that has touched me the most is the people that tell us how important TCM is to them. That's a great comfort to know that. So to know that what we do is not just entertainment, but also meaningful in people's lives means a great deal. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, wow. Thanks. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ben Mankiewicz. We have set aside our previously scheduled programming to pay tribute to Robert Osborne, who died March 6th in New York City at home. Robert was 84. Robert's 8.5 decades on this planet were especially noteworthy. From an early age, he knew precisely where his heart lay, with the movies. As a kid, young Robert Osborne was so in love with what he'd see on the big screen in movie theaters in his hometown of Colfax, Washington, that as soon as he was old enough, he got a job working in one. I think it's hard for some of us to think of Robert as a kid. He was always such a distinguished gentleman. While studying journalism at the University of Washington in Seattle, Robert used all his free time to read back issues of Hollywood trade papers in the New York Times to learn as much as he could about cinema. After college, he joined the Air Force, hoping to see the world, but instead found himself stationed in Seattle, where he began doing local theater to pass the time. Eventually, his work on the stage led him to Hollywood, where Robert started making the personal connections to the stars he admired. Among those talents was the woman who set Robert on the path to becoming one of the most revered film historians of his time. That was Lucille Ball. Lucy suggested Robert quit acting to become a writer. Robert took her advice, publishing his first book, Academy Awards Illustrated, in 1965 at the age of 33. He'd eventually become the official historian of the Motion Picture Academy, publishing several updated versions of the official history of the Academy Awards, as well as becoming a columnist for The Hollywood Reporter, eventually writing a column called The Rambling Reporter 5 times a week. The column really became required reading by everybody in the business. Over the years, Robert held several jobs in television, but in 1994, he found the perfect job, and the perfect job found him. He became the founding host of Turner Classic Movies. Robert immediately gave TCM the class and credibility it needed to succeed. We will always be grateful for the 23 years he devoted to the channel. We wouldn't be here without him. Robert wasn't just a co-worker, he was a member of our family, a sentiment I'm sure many of you feel as well. And he was really the head of this family. So now, in Robert's honor, we bring you a big slice of TCM history, Robert Osborne's first film introduction for TCM. From the afternoon of Thursday, April 14th, 1994, here is Robert Osborne introducing Gone with the Wind.
Hi, welcome to Turner Classic Movies. I'm Robert Osborne. I'm going to be your host right here as we present some of the best, the finest films ever made, 24 hours a day. We're going to be drawing not only from the great film libraries of MGM and Warner Brothers, but also from other outstanding film catalogs. So come join us and see not only great films and stars from the past, but also films from recent years featuring some of our newest and most watchable stars. And along the way, I'm going to be sharing some of my own memories of Hollywood, things I've seen and heard as a columnist with The Hollywood Reporter, things I've also discovered through personal friendships with some of the people who made the movies we all love. I think you're going to love Turner Classic Movies, and we're all going to be doing our best to keep you with us. Of course, there was really only one film that would do for the debut of Turner Classic Movies. It's a film most people would agree is probably the best movie ever made, certainly the most enduring, Gone with the Wind. Gone with the Wind. Boy, you say that name and it conjures up all sorts of images. Beautiful, headstrong Scarlett O'Hara, dashing Rhett Butler, Tara, the burning of Atlanta, the performances of Vivian Leigh and Clark Gable and Olivia de Havilland, Leslie Howard, the wonderful Hattie McDaniel. And never forget the man who brought it to the screen, producer David O. Selznick. Boy, Gone with the Wind is the stuff of which a legend was made. Nominated for 13 Academy Awards, it won 8 of them, including Best Picture of the Year. It's been seen by more people than any other film in history, and I don't think anyone who's seen it has ever come away untouched or unmoved. You know, a poll was once taken about Gone with the Wind, and guess what single element of the film was the one that attracted people the most? Not the epic size, not the Civil War background, not even the great performances. It was the love story which people said they enjoyed most about the film. But it's also a great story of survival, of course, survival in the face of war and devastation. Gone with the Wind was first published as a book in 1936. David Selznick bought the film rights for $50,000, a very tidy sum in those days. 3 years later, it was premiered in Atlanta on December 16, 1939. It was not an easy movie to make. There were countless screenwriters involved, including Sidney Howard and F. Scott Fitzgerald, even David Selznick himself. George Cukor started directing the film, but was soon fired, and he was replaced by Victor Fleming. And then Victor Fleming suffered a nervous breakdown, and another director, Sam Wood, took over. But it eventually was finished, and it certainly worked, and it worked beautifully. It was Selznick's baby, and it was also his crowning achievement. David Selznick made many films after Gone with the Wind, even some great ones like Rebecca and The Third Man, but boy, he never surpassed Gone with the Wind. In my opinion, no one has ever surpassed it. And here it is, exactly as it was shown in 1939, complete with an overture, an intermission, and intermission music, and also complete with a magic that, well, never been equaled. To properly introduce you to Turner Classic Movies, we're very proud to present the one, the only, Gone with the Wind.